Where are you?
Happy Halloween! At a Halloween party, I was Joker, so I want to pay homage to that in my video. When it's about my Batman videos, I think this is the perfect one to come out on October 31st, for obvious reasons.
Thursday, October 31st.
Happy fucking Halloween.
So to celebrate Halloween, we're gonna talk about this movie that I don't love as much as people do. In fact, I think a lot of people might think that I really don't like this movie, even though I will tell you that I do. Because I will take a lot of time of this video to talk about negative stuff relating to this movie, but it's just because I want to justify why I don't think it's as good as other people say. Now, my last video was actually The Dark Knight analysis and review. Naturally, the next video would have been Rises, The Dark Knight Rises, but I want to leave that for the last video of my Batman series of videos, because that film is so important to me as a Batman fan that I want to leave it as the last video I'm gonna make here. But to continue, I'm gonna take my Joker makeup off because I think it's too distracting. So I'm gonna take it off, wait for it. I'm gonna come back as my normal self. The Batman is one of those few films that my opinion on the finished product ended up being the exact same opinion I thought I was gonna have when I was watching the trailers. It's good. I liked it. It's good. It's not mind-blowing or incredible. And yeah, a lot of people start saying before I watched the film that this was a masterpiece, the best Batman movie you will ever see. And yeah, my opinion is not like that. I have issues with the Batman. I've always had. I don't love it. I don't think it's a bad movie. This will be a very difficult movie to review though, because when you're such a huge fan of a character, such a huge fan of a cinematic version of this character that you define as the definite version of the character in cinema history, it's very difficult to not be that harsh on it. I will try not to be with this film. I will try to be as subjective as possible. I'm already saying that this movie is good and I do like it. But there are things that do bother me about the film. I want to start with the positives, then we are going to the negatives, okay? The first positive and my favorite thing about this movie is Robert Pattinson as Batman. This is a great interpretation of this character. His performance is amazing. From the moment he was announced, I was hyped because I think he's an amazing actor and he delivered. He's different from Ben Affleck and Christian Bale in the sense that Christian Bale and Ben Affleck and other Batman actors looked like monsters, beasts. That you see them and you're like, holy shit, that guy will beat the shit out of me. When it's about Pattinson, he looks like a creepy dude more than a monstrous beast. And a lot of it has to do because of his physique. He's very tall and very skinny. His face with that cowl looks kind of a freak. They even say that he looks like a freak. And it's not a complaint. I really like this take. I really like it. Whenever this film is different from the Dark Knight trilogy or other interpretations of Batman, I adore. And this is one of the things that I love about his character. The things that he does with his eyes when he's staring at people, amazing. The detective stuff I also like. Yeah, in the Dark Knight trilogy, we have a lot of moments where he is being a detective, like at least 2 scenes for each movie. But in the Batman, there's a lot of focus on that. And I really like how he manages all these things, detective stuff with his technology, with his contact lenses that record everything. That's a great idea. But the most important thing is that he doesn't kill. Thank you, Matt Reeves and team. Thank you. He actually has an amazing line in this movie regarding that.
He has to pay!
You don't have to pay with him. You paid enough.
When it's about the supporting characters, I really like Gordon, Catwoman played by Zoe Kravitz, Alfred by Andy Serkins. But my favorite part of the supporting characters, without a doubt, is Colin Farrell as Penguin. This is an amazing interpretation of the character. Amazing, not just the performance, but the character is so much fun. And yeah, he's not the Penguin as we get to know him in his TV show. The fact that they announced his TV show even before this film came out already told you that they did something special. With his TV show, he becomes my favorite Penguin. When it's about this movie, comparing it to Danny DeVito, I still think I like more than Danny DeVito, but he's not the Penguin yet, as he is in the TV show. When it's about the few things that I think this film does better than the Dark Knight trilogy is Falcone. I really like Falcone in this movie. There's more to his character than the Falcone in Batman Begins. In Batman Begins, he's just an asshole and a disgusting asshole that you just want Batman to beat the shit out of him. But here there's something else. There's more depth to his character and with the performance. So amazing work by John Turturro. When it's about music in live action Batman movies, all of them rock. All of them. And Michael Giacchino's score is no exception. But I think his music in this film is more important than the other movies because I'm not as engaged in this narrative as I am in the Dark Knight trilogy, which I'm gonna explain you why later on. So the music really helps a lot, but the main theme is awesome. There are a lot of great musical cues here. Michael Giacchino is a genius. He's a fucking genius and he did something special. My favorite track is Can't Fight Halloween City, something like that. That's a great track. When I heard it before the film came out, I was like, oh, this is great. The action is well shot. Batman fighting is awesome, but the cinematography is the thing that a lot of people talk about when they want to justify that this is a masterpiece. Whenever I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see a post saying that this film is a masterpiece, they always show the visuals and they say that the cinematography is amazing and stuff. The cinematography is incredible in The Batman. This film really looks like a comic book, and there's a lot of things related to texture, which I'm gonna dive deep later on, that the cinematography helps a lot with it. I do have my 5 favorite moments in the entire movie. The first one is the bat signal moment in the opening. That moment, I remember being in the theater seeing that shit and I was like, oh my god, and I don't understand why these people call this a masterpiece. This is gonna be amazing. Then the other moment that I really grabbed me was the funeral sequence. From the moment that he gets off his car, Bruce Wayne gets off his car. That little moment is actually my favorite moment in the entire movie. When he's getting off his car and he has this expression that he's trying to smile to the cameras, but then he just can't. He's so heartbreaking. Robert Pattinson's performance, I think, is masterful in this movie. You just see so much tragedy in the eyes of this guy. But that whole sequence is really tense, it's really exciting. Following that sequence, we have a little scene when Batman is scuffling with the police because the police wants to take his mask off. That moment, I remember in the theater being like, don't touch my fucking Batman, assholes. Don't you fucking touch him. He's precious. That mask is precious. Don't touch it, fuckers. And when Gordon is acting like he's furious with him, like he's scolding him, like this, talking like this, and he's actually saying, we gotta get you out of here. That moment is really awesome. Batman punches him. Really great shit. Really awesome shit. The hospital moment with Alfred, also very touching. And that whole subplot with the Waynes really worked really fucking well. I was scared when I was watching the movie, remember, because I hate the versions of Batman where the Waynes are assholes, where they're revealed that they're assholes. I hate those versions. And here I was scared. When they set up that for this version, I was like, no, please don't. But with that hospital scene, that's all resolved. Thank you. And the last moment that I really love is the moment that I call the beacon of hope, after Batman realized that he has just inspired anger in the city, anger to corruption, anger to injustice, and he actually thinks that, okay, I had to be more. I actually had to be a superhero and save people, not just fight crime. Because this guy, the Riddler henchman, he says, I'm vengeance, like he says in the opening of the movie. And that whole moment when he's saving the kid and everybody, and we have this shot of the flare, gives me goosebumps, without a doubt. And the next moment, he's trying to help a woman. She's like, please don't let me go. And he's like, calm down, everything's gonna be okay. Beautiful moment. And it really feels cathartic after the whole movie just sets up Gotham as this very dirty and shitty place that you really don't care all that much about it. Because Bruce also doesn't care all that much about the city. From the first act, it's set up that Bruce is doing this for his legacy. He's trying to fix the city just because his parents were doing this, and he's trying to continue that legacy.
What I'm doing is my family's legacy. If I can't change things here, if I can't have an effect, I don't care what happens to me.
But he really doesn't care about the city all that much, about the citizens. And I think that was Matt Reeves' purpose, to not make us care about this city. Because there are a lot of moments that he could have used a little bit of humanity from ordinary citizens to make us care about this city, like Nolan does in Dark Knight, for instance, with the hospital sequence that he's showing people helping, trying to help patients get out of the hospital. We don't have a moment like that in The Batman until the last moments of the film. In the opening, where the drop head is still in the store, we don't see a single shot of the face of the victim. We are always focusing on the drop head. We never see the victim. And the movie really continues that. We just see the criminal underworld, and we just feel that this city is a shitty place that doesn't deserve to be saved. Although there's an aspect near the third act, in fact, starting the third act, that kind of clashes with that, which I'm going to talk about later on. But the whole journey, his whole journey, how he starts not giving a shit about the city, just doing this because of vengeance and because it's his legacy, and then because he's actually caring now about the city. Really beautiful stuff. This movie actually has a lot of similarities to Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming. One of them, of course, is that it's a film that is coming after a lot of versions of this character. The other one is that, similar to Homecoming, the hero starts being the hero, but is not really the hero. In Spider-Man Homecoming, he's being held by Tony's suit, but when Tony takes his suit, he has to learn to be Spider-Man without that suit and being the Spider-Man that we all know from the comics. And he becomes a Spider-Man, really Spider-Man in the end of the film. In the Batman, it's very similar. He starts being Vengeance, and at the end of the film, he actually becomes Batman, the superhero that we all love. And the other thing is the overhyped that the film got when it was released. Yeah, Homecoming was loved at first. A lot of people actually say it was the best Spider-Man movie ever made. Do you remember that? In 2017, a lot of people were saying that about Homecoming, that it was the best one. Even though that jewel that you're seeing on screen already existed, they were calling Homecoming the best one because it was closer to the comics and stuff, and everybody was so hyped about this new concept of Spider-Man. But after a lot of movies, the Spider-Verse movies, Far From Home, No Way Home, we've come to realize that, okay, that movie wasn't that great. I think that's the exact same thing that's gonna happen to the Batman. The Batman is very similar to the comics in some things, and to the animated series, the thing about the detective stuff, for instance. And yeah, it's cool to see that. It's cool to see in that aspect a more close adaptation to the comics. But in a few years, after the Batman Part 2 is released, after The Brave and the Bold is released, I really don't think people will appreciate this movie as much as they did when it came out. I'm actually starting to feel that some people are already not feeling it as much as they did. Before I start with the negatives, I had to clarify something, and it's that I will have to play the comparison game with the Dark Knight trilogy, and I feel forced to do so because of my first issue with the Batman, and that's the focus with the tone. This film really tries so hard to be grounded, realistic, and dark. Very fucking hard. I remember that in every single interview relating to this movie, in every single featurette or behind the scenes before the film came out, everybody, the cast, the director, the crew were saying, this is super grounded, super realistic, most grounded, realistic, and dark interpretation of this character in cinema and stuff.
A movie like ours, where we're trying to be super realistic and super grounded.
And I think this was a huge mistake. Not just the fact that, again, I will feel forced to compare to the Dark Knight trilogy, which is what this film is trying to do. It's trying to be 2 times more grounded, 2 times more realistic, 2 times more dark than that trilogy, because they're like, yeah, that works, so we have to do that again, right? Yeah, the Batman does have some differences from the Dark Knight trilogy. The aesthetics, the character is different in some ways and stuff. Although his journey is kind of similar to the journey of Christian Bale's Batman in some ways, but yeah, it's different enough, you know? But that grounded and realistic stuff makes this film so inconsistent and doesn't give the chance for the filmmakers to play with imagination. How awesome would it have been that this film actually was more like a fantastical interpretation? And in that way, even though it wouldn't been as good as the Dark Knight trilogy, I would not feel forced to compare to that. Let's talk about Ben Affleck's Batman, because I haven't talked about him in my Batman videos. When it's about Ben Affleck, the thing that I respect the most about his interpretation is that he was different from Christian Bale. Yeah, he killed, which I hated, but at least that was different. His personality was more rough, more brutal. And in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League to be exact, we see him as a great leader of superheroes, which is something that we never had the chance to see that with Christian Bale. That was different, that was awesome. When it's about Robert Pattinson's Batman, or Matt Reeves' Batman, it's just, again, another realistic and grounded interpretation of this character. And I feel that this limits a lot with imagination, with the ideas. The Batmobile is just a Dodge Charger with a rocket. Not even a Bugatti. Like, this guy's a billionaire. He couldn't get a Bugatti, a more advanced car. Yeah, the Dodge Charger is an amazing car. I'm not saying that it isn't. Of course, I would love to have one. But you're a billionaire. You could create a new car like they did in Batman Begins. In fact, like they did in real life. The Tumbler is a real vehicle that they created for the film. Why they couldn't do that in this film? Why Batman couldn't do that? You know, he still is the owner of Wayne Enterprises. The gliding stuff, the way that he glides, I fucking hate the fact that it's just a squirrel suit. Those squirrel suits that people use in real life. And Matt Reeves was like, yeah, we want to use that because we want it to be super grounded and realistic. And it's like, but what's the point here? This is Batman. The point is to see something exceptional being done by this character. The CGI in that sequence is terrible. These shots, why these shots? I get it. Okay, they're trying to copy that GoPro shot that people use, but like really wasn't necessary, and that CGI just looks bad. And yeah, Batman crashes with a light bulb, which a lot of people have already criticized. I've seen a lot of people criticize that in the last year, which I completely understand. And he just stands up and he's like, ouch, ouch. He's completely fine in the next scene. I wouldn't be bothered by this. I wouldn't be bothered by this if I was watching a Ben Affleck movie, if I was watching a Michael Keaton movie, because those movies are more fantastical. Those movies are like, yeah, I accept it. Like, it's not realistic and grounded. But this movie is trying to be so hard that when things like that happen, I just feel that these filmmakers are forced to set that tone because that's something that worked in the past. They're not trying to do something new. They're not trying to impact the industry in very innovative ways like Nolan did. They're just trying to do the exact same thing that they saw before. And so there's not excitement to that. The CGI though, that leads me to another thing. The CGI is incredibly apparent in some action sequences. This shot of CGI, I hate. I remember seeing that from the trailers. I was like, yeah, that looks awful. That doesn't look real. And again, if this was an MCU movie, I would pass that, of course. I would be like, yeah, an MCU movie. Or in Ben Affleck, there are shots of Ben Affleck fighting that looks like a CGI Ben Affleck. But if you're trying to make, once again, a realistic and grounded film, you have to make it even better than Nolan. Because if you don't do it better, what's the point of making the exact same thing? The other thing that I realized watching this film after the Dark Knight trilogy is that I'm not that captivated by this story. This is a mystery about a guy who's killing corrupt people, and we have to know why. And the big reveal of the mystery is that this shitty city is actually shitter than you think. Wow. But there really is not that much stakes regarding the character of Batman in his narrative until the moment that Riddler, of course, makes this revelation that the Waynes were assholes. But before that, I guess Alfred is in danger for a moment, but then he's just fine. Again, that doesn't help to keep me captivating with this narrative. It's just Batman investigating some stuff, trying to fix the city, and he's just calmly doing it. So I would have loved if they gave us like a whodunit or something like that, or if the Riddler is actually killing innocents or something like that, that really feels like, damn it, fuck, like, we have to stop this guy, you know? But no, it's just once again Batman fighting corruption and finding the truth about the corruption, the fact that the system is even broken that he thinks fine, but it's not that captivated, like I said. Yeah, I'm shirtless and recording like this. Why am I doing it? Because I think it's perfect to talk about public appearances. When it's about Bruce's public appearance in Batman movies, it's very important. And Batman Begins sets up that pretty well. And it's the fact that Bruce has to keep appearances. He needs to act differently in the public eye so people don't suspect that he's Batman. And this is my one issue with Robert Pattinson's Batman character, is that he's not that smart. If he was smart, he wouldn't act like this in the public eye. He wouldn't. He will know that he couldn't act like this because he's acting exactly like he's acting with the costume. And people have noticed this and defend the fact that he's been Batman for just 2 years. So we're gonna see that development come to fruition in the next films. But I think that he's already an adult. His brain is already developed. Like, he's done. It will be bullshit. He becomes more. He becomes smarter. And that moment in the funeral, although I love that sequence, I hate when he is eavesdropping on Gordon. It's just so obvious. I mean, if Gordon had any brain, he will be like, yeah, that guy looks like Batman. He's turning like my friend. He has the same chin. He's not subtle at all. Bruce is not subtle at all at that moment. So yeah, that's my one issue with the character of Batman. Also, the reason why I'm recording like this is complete bullshit. I just completely forgot to talk about that complaint that I had with the character of Batman. And I really want to take my shirt on and prepare the setup, so whatever. Let's continue. My other big issue with the film is Gotham. Like I said, Matt Reeves sets up Gotham to not make you care about this city as Batman doesn't. But when Riddler is flooding the city, the music and the editing and everything and the characters' emotion stuff are telling me that you should care about this flooding. And I remember from the first time I watched the film, I didn't care. I really didn't care. I was like, yeah, flood that fucking city, whatever. It was such a whatever moment, which is so disappointing after seeing the Dark Knight trilogy, in which every moment the city is in danger. You really feel it. Here, I don't care about the city. I don't care that there are people drown here, because I just don't feel that this is a realistic city, which is the other thing I don't like about Gotham City. Is the fact that I just don't feel that I'm in a realistic place. Yeah, There are moments in the film that were shot in realistic places in a city, but there are a lot of moments that use the volume. And you can tell, I don't believe that that's a realistic background. That's a wall, a wall with a screen, without a doubt. I just don't believe it. I don't feel that I'm in a real place. Even when he's on his motorcycle on the streets, it just looks, there's something about it that just looks fake. I just don't believe it. And again, I must repeat this once again. I wouldn't mind this all that much if it was an MCU movie, if it was a more film focused on fantastical elements. Yeah, it's not that big of an issue for some, and I will understand that. I might be too harsh on it, but I'm not gonna lie to you. It's something that really does bother me about the movie. Now let's talk about the Riddler. Okay, the first time I watched the film, until the moment of the cafeteria, I was engaged. With that moment, I was like, oh, this looks like a great villain, oh shit. But from the moment Batman and him talk in Arkham, from that moment, I lost all respect to this character. And it's because of this misconception that people have with characters like Joker from The Dark Knight. That people say, oh my god, that was a crazy clown, that was like sick and stuff, and that made him dangerous. What made dangerous Joker is the fact that he was just an asshole. Yeah, he was psychotic or sociopath, whatever, but he was like sane, completely sane. He's just an asshole that doesn't have empathy. That what makes him scary. If he was a sick dumbass, it wouldn't be scary. In reality, a sick dumbass wouldn't do anything. When it's about the Riddler, all the things that he does in this film, killing the commissioner, the DA, almost Bruce Wayne, and the fucking mayor, that is a promise that this guy is a mastermind. That this guy is even more of a mastermind than Joker in The Dark Knight, because even Joker in Dark Knight, he tried to kill the mayor, but he couldn't. So when the moment arrives in the Arkham scene, and it's revealed that this guy is just a sick dumbass, that thinks that Batman is on his side. Batman says, you're a sick guy. I just completely lost respect with the narrative that was created with this character, because it just doesn't make sense. This guy killed the fucking mayor, guys. You know how hard it is to kill a mayor? There's a reason why Joker couldn't in Dark Knight, because it's very fucking hard. And you're gonna tell me that this sick person did this? It doesn't make sense. That aspect of the character doesn't make sense, but I mean, also the things that he does, the fact that he breathes so loudly, and he spells syllables in a very long, no, and he does that stuff that is so annoying, and it's just dumb. It's just, there's no reason why he does that. I don't get it. When we have moments with Joker like this,
Why so serious?
and moments with Bane like this,
I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
when these characters have those moments, the Riddler has this. I just can't take him seriously, and he has the worst scene in the entire movie. The moment of the TV stuff that he's torturing the commissioner, it's a copy of the scene with the Joker in Dark Knight.
Be aware, the image is disturbing.
Social media, and we have to warn you, the video is very disturbing.
Tell them your name.
A shameless copy moment.
I'm a man of my word.
I don't know how people can forgive that scene. So yeah, I don't like this character. I don't care, I don't believe him, I cannot take him seriously. Sorry guys, for those who love the Riddler.
Hey guys.
And the setup thing with the sequel, with the older Joker, that yeah, I saw the deleted scene, I hate it too. I hate it. I feel that is so mediocre. A friend who loves this movie told me, calm down, you haven't truly seen him. You know, you need a movie with him. And I'm like, okay, you are correct. But with the things I have seen, I just see another mediocre villain. And I gotta be honest, there are a lot of things like that in the movie that are trying to be very scary. They are trying to be very suspenseful. But my friend said it the best. And it's that the film tries to sell you ideas, but doesn't achieve connecting you with those ideas. That's how I feel this movie fails in some aspects. I said this a couple of times in my previous Batman videos, and it's that the great Batman movies or great Batman stories are the ones that make you appreciate the character in ways that you never thought of. This movie really doesn't do that. When the film started and when the film ended, I appreciated the Batman character as much as I did after watching the Dark Knight trilogy. It's like, okay, cool, I love Batman and he's awesome, but he doesn't do nothing new with a character that really makes me appreciate him as much as I did with the Dark Knight trilogy. There's one thing though that this movie does exceptional from the other Batman movies, something that is very different, and I think it's the main reason why I keep coming back to watch this film, because I've seen this film a lot of times though. It's not a film that I love, but I've watched it a lot of times, and I think it's because out of all Batman movies, this is the one that really makes you feel that you're in Batman's POV, which is a term that I hate when people try to describe perspective in film. When people say you're from this character's perspective, watching this from the character's perspective, they always use the word POV. Instead of using the word perspective, they use the word POV, which are two different things. Perspective is making you feel something or making you see things in a way that a character does, but POV is literally seeing things from the eyes of a character. And that's what the Batman does. The Dark Knight trilogy, you really felt the perspective, Bruce's perspective in the story. But the Batman really feels that you're in Batman's POV. I mean, in a lot of moments you actually are, when he's spying on Selina, for instance, and we have these drops falling from his hat and falling on his hat. Oh my god, I love that. You feel really the texture of the things around him, and when he's grabbing things with his gloves, you really feel the texture and the friction of the rubber. Those things I adore about the movie, and I think that's probably the main reason why I keep coming back to it, because it's what separates this Batman movie from the other ones, that really makes you feel that you're in Batman's POV. It actually feels like a video game sometimes, and that's truly special. That's actually cool. I'm gonna give the Batman a 7 out of 10. A good grade though. It's a good grade. So yeah, I like this movie. It just feels like after talking a lot of shit about this movie, and more shit than actually the good things, it feels like I'm giving a negative grade. But no, I'm just trying to explain to a lot of people why I don't think it's as good as people say. Because if there's one thing that I really hate about this movie, or related to this movie, is people's initial reaction to it, not the movie itself. I just cannot stand those overhyped reactions, because I feel that the filmmakers, and that's why I'm scared, the aspect that I'm scared about the Batman Part 2, because I feel that the filmmakers will not learn that much from this movie. Because people are like, no, it's perfect, you don't need to fix anything. But I believe in Matt Reeves, and I think he will learn some stuff and he will make the film even better. And I know this movie also went through a lot of issues regarding to COVID. And I think a lot of it also is shown in the film's quality with the image. Not the good-looking image, which is a miracle that a movie filmed in COVID, with all those COVID problems, the fact that Robert Pattinson got COVID and stuff, looks this good. It's a miracle. They did a great job. It's just that it doesn't look that realistic. It looks very fake in a lot of scenes. So yeah, next video is gonna be my last video, The Dark Knight Rises. I cannot wait to talk about the movie, because like I said, it's a very special movie in my heart, in my Batman fan heart here, and I cannot wait. I can't wait to talk about that movie, and it will be my last video. I had to clarify something, and is that in a lot of videos I've said that we were going to talk about a lot of animated Batman movies. We talk about The Mask of Phantasm, but I was planning to talk about Under the Red Hood and Aztec Batman. Under the Red Hood, I just don't have enough time to talk about that movie. When it's about Aztec Batman, I don't know what happened to that movie. That movie was supposed to be released here in Latin America, where I live, on September 18, I think, and it was never released in HBO Max. I don't know what happened. And then I checked out on September 19 when it was going to be released in the States. It wasn't on HBO Max, and to this date, as I'm recording this, it's still not in HBO Max. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna finish with Dark Knight Rises. I think it's the perfect video to finish my entire Batman reviews. Actually, after making this review, I'm glad that I didn't finish with the Batman, because it will be like, oh, okay, I finished with a movie that I don't love. But finishing with the Rises, it will be perfect. So guys, as always, thank you for watching, and happy Halloween.